This person, I met him, it was 2014, and we met in Cuba actually, before we met in New York, and our paths just like, for some reason, he was not on tour with me, but he was part of On Your Feet. Welcome everyone, Carlos Gonzales. Mi corazón bello, ¿cómo estás?
Espérate, esto está sucio.
Mírate a ti, que veraniego, y yo con esta
I
cosa
know.
manga larga.
I'm trying to pretend I'm in Miami with you.
And look at me, I was trying to pretend I was in New York. The good thing about being live is that it's like the range of mistakes is totalmente permitido, así que
Nobody's touching. It's good, mommy. I'm good.
You're in New York, right?
I'm in New York, chilling, chillaxing.
So how's it called? Rum and Coke?
Havana Club, rum and Coke.
Yes. Is that a Cuba Libre or Cubata?
What's the difference?
Cuba Libre is with white rum, and Cubata is with dark rum.
Cuba Libre.
When did we meet? It was 2014, right?
I literally have no sense of time. Like, I never know timelines. But yeah, if you say so.
Yeah,
I
no,
really
es que
don't
creo,
know. Yeah, and
creo
right.
que fue en 2014, right? That
Right.
that you came to Cuba.
Yep.
How was
Yep.
that?
That was that really 2014?
I think so, yeah.
6 years ago?
Yep.
That's a lot. That's a lot.
I know. I look back and I'm like, shit, that's.
No, I met so many amazing people. I met you. I met Luisito. I met honestly, after Rent in Cuba was when I started thinking about repatriating to be Cuban again. I know that's complicated, and buying a house on there because I didn't really have. I'm from Bayamo, not from Santiago, like you said.
Yeah, I know. I fixed it. I was like, Bayamo, not Santiago.
Yeah, but I never really been to Havana that much when I lived there. And then after Rent, I started going with. I started to go back to visit friends, to visit like Luisito, my closest friends came out of Rent, and Luisito's like one of my good friends, and Frank, and all those people, and you, and all of everyone.
Yeah.
So good. I know.
So when did you left Cuba? When did you move
I
to
left
the
Cuba. I
States?
was 11. I was 11 years old.
Wow.
Yo llevo acá 20. Oh wait, then I'm gonna say my age if I say it.
No. Don't say it. Don't say it.
I went back a lot, like through my teenager years, because my whole family was there. Long story short, my mom won the visa lottery at when I was 11 years old. So my mom and my dad left with me at 11, and then my whole family stayed back in Bayamo. So we would go back like almost every year to visit the family, and we'd be there for 21 days and all of that. So I grew up through until I feel like when I went to college. So I went to high school here, and then when I went to college, I was so busy that I didn't go back that much. And also my whole family started coming here. So, and luckily now I have the whole family staying here. I mean, it's crazy because I had not been to Bayamo in like 7 or 8 years. For a long time now. This past time I went to Cuba, and I went to Bayamo, and it's like a whole different world from what I remember when I was a kid.
¿Qué es lo que más te gusta de Bayamo?
Los coches. Los coches en Bayamo, yeah, like horse carrier. Tú sabes. ¿Tú no has montado en coche?
En Cárdenas. En Cárdenas, cada vez que voy siempre monto en coche, pero normalmente no. En La Habana no hay. Son muy pocos los que hay.
It's so crazy speaking English with you because our friendship started in Spanish.
So Carlos and I met in Cuba while so I auditioned for Rent, and Carlos was our stage manager when we were in Cuba. How was that craziness for you? Porque Rent fue una locura muy grande.
Una locura. I know. I don't even know how to explain that. Almost like, what? Stage manager? No, Andy brought me in as like kind of doing it all as a stage manager, but I've never really done that. It wasn't really a stage manager. It's more like you understand Cuba and you understand New York, like, and then just be the bridge of that. And I know. I look back at it. I'm always like, what was I doing there? Was I stage manager? Was I
So
yeah.
tell me, what makes you because you're a dancer first,
I'm
right?
actually yeah. I don't know. I never really considered my dancer. It's a struggle of my life. But I went to college actually as a BFA acting major first, and I started dancing after um sophomore year in college, like freshman into sophomore year in college for the first time.
Wow.
And then after college, I started just dancing as a like ensemble musical theater person. But yeah, my training really was in acting first, and never really danced in Cuba or any other kind of like dance studios and stuff like that. Like that was not my thing. So I don't know. I don't know what I consider myself, a dancer or an actor first.
I mean, I always
Definitely not a
see the
singer.
whole thing.
I'll tell you
Yeah.
that.
No, I always see the thing, like the whole thing together. For me, I mean, I know that's a thing for Broadway. It's like you're a dancer first, you're an actor or a singer first. But for me, it's just like everything is, connected at some point. So it
Yeah.
doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
I know amazing actors that their training was as a dancers, or like singers that they start singing after, and it's like they're amazing singers.
Hmm.
So like it doesn't really matter, but it was just like, I really wanted to
Yeah,
know.
I always love approaching dancing as an actor. Like I know that sounds super corny, but like it really has helped me so much to just like approach it as a like good dancing, like music. That's I think that's why I got drawn into musical theater. So I went to BFA acting major first, and then I started just doing like modern dance, like dancer in college. And then like sophomore year into junior year, I started finding out about musical theater dancing, and that was like the happy medium between like okay, I'm not like a modern dancer and I'm not like a Shakespearean actor. I want to do like acting through dance for musical theater. But of course, I mean, I still would love to act in like, TV and film and all that.
I mean, you are acting. I mean, you actually like were like you had like a dancer actor track in on your
Yeah.
feet, and then
Mm-hmm.
now in West Side Story, you are understudying Bernardo, right?
A call from Cuba. That's the craziest thing that that came through as I was talking to you.
Right?
It's like my
See,
house security or something.
leave it to Mulet. I was talking about that yesterday
Leave it
with
to
Mao.
Mulet and
That's
the
how this whole
brujería.
thing started. They were saying it's because I attract Cuban things. It's like we will be. That's what. So you remember in Tradición with Natalie? So we were in Rochester, in the middle of nowhere. It was snowing. We finished the show. It was so late, and then we're in a cab. I was in the back, like laying down because I was so tired. And then Natalie was sitting in the front. She started talking with this guy, and they were like, "Oh, whatever, blah blah blah. Where are you from?" And he's like, "No, I'm from Cuba." And I was like, "I'm from Cuba," and he was like, "Yeah, yo soy de Matanza." But the way he said de Matanza, mira, after that, all the time in the basin, we would be like, que siga la tradición, and like, like before going to, like, we'll be like, de matanza, and coming back, because every city I will find either in a cafeteria or an Uber or whatever. So it's not strange for
That's
me that you get
it's
a
so
call from
weird to me.
Cuba.
I know you keep talking about on your feet, and we've talked about this that we've met doing rent in Cuba, and then like you talking about tradición. I'm like, wait, what? Like you did on your feet, and I've seen pictures of you playing like Gloria Fajardo and all that, but it's like mind blowing to me, like how the worlds collide. Like I'm like, how do you know about tradición?
It's
Like
crazy.
it's crazy how the life works.
So wait, on your feet, how was that?
The freaking best, honestly. It really was. Oh, I loved it. I miss it so much. Everything about it. I booked that. I don't know if you know this story, but I booked that show without an agent. I had an agent right after college for the longest time, and then not for the longest time, for a couple of years. And I was gonna stop performing because I had like all these student loans from college that I had to pay, and I was working a lot, like on tours or like little regional theaters here and there, but it wasn't really paying my student loans. So I was like, you know what? I need a break. I need like 1 year of doing photography, which was like another hobby of mine. And I was like, I'm just gonna take a break from performing. And I literally left my agent on I don't know Thursday, and like that weekend, Andy Senor, who was weirdly friends with her before me, even though now we're friends, was the one who told Kurt, like, hey, your husband is Cuban. Like, there's this musical of Gloria Estefan. Like, you should come audition. So I went to the open call to audition for it, and I booked it without an agent. Like, right there, like through the dance call. I went to the dance call, and I remember wearing like Lululemon pants and like, you know, my little like jazz shoes and all that, thinking that it was like another musical theater audition. And then tenían una gente ahí like doing bongos. I was like, oh wait, this is like the real deal. Like, what are we doing? And I took my shoes off. I was barefoot. I took my shirt off, and I put on. I remember I changed my pants. I put like this like white linen pants that I had like streetwear, and I was like, ah, esto es sandunga, and I was like living my life. And that day, our surgeon was the one who was like, hey, are you Cuban? Like, you want to come to do pre-production tomorrow? Like, this was at the dance call, and then the next morning I was doing pre-production. I was like, wait, am I doing a Broadway show right now without an agent? It was like that. It was like the easiest audition for me. Like, just, it was meant to be.
Wow. I didn't know this story.
I know, it's crazy. People are always like, oh, how hard was it to make it a Broadway? I was like, actually, it was the easiest audition. Because it was like so meant to be, you know.
But actually, how hard it was before that. Was On Your Feet your first Broadway show?
On Your Feet was my first Broadway show, yeah. But I don't know, I never really like, you know, in Cuba I wouldn't know about Broadway, so I just didn't like, I know people like grow up and like, I'm gonna be on Broadway. I just wanted to like perform and make money doing what I love. And of course, like after hearing people and like obviously like after seeing shows on Broadway and all that, I was like, okay, that's the ultimate goal. But it wasn't like a live, you know, I guess it was so like unreachable in my head at first that I was just like, I just want to like perform. But then it came like so easy. And with that show, that was just like the people in it, like it was just too perfect. Now especially now looking back at it, like, being in it at that moment, I was like, oh, this is so fun. And like everyone spoke Spanish. And yeah, it was like dancing songs that we, you know, that we knew, and yeah, it was a relajo. It was so good.
How was to be also in a show like that on Broadway? I mean, full of Latin people with what the show carries, like the idea of what, like how we immigrants are in this society today. Being on Broadway at that point and being doing like performing at the Tonys and like spreading that word.
Yeah, I mean, my first Broadway show that I saw, the first Broadway show I saw was Billy. Wow, no, not Billy. It was a Moving Out, Billy Joel's music. But like in the beginning when I started seeing Broadway shows, everything was so white. Like there was no On Your Feet, there was no Hamilton, there was no In the Heights. Like all of the shows were not a thing. So that was another thing that like on Broadway, I was always like, oh, that's just like white people, and then like one or two Spanish people, you know, Latinos in there. But things started changing, like with first In the Heights, which was my first national tour, and then with Hamilton and On Your Feet. And that season especially was like such an ethnic moment for Broadway to do, to be part of it, which was very special. But no, it was incredible. Also, Emilio left when he was 11. That whole scene at the airport, like when I first saw that scene, I was like, wait, what? This is weird. This is exactly what happened to me. Like being at the airport, like saying goodbye to your grandma. Like every time I was just like, this is so strange that I'm doing this show that is about kind of like same things that I lived through. And my family seeing, like, you know, my abuelita and my mom, and like everyone seeing the show in Spanish, and I mean with some Spanish in it. It was so special. You know, like it could have, any Broadway show would have been amazing to be my first Broadway show, but the fact that it was that Broadway show was like, forget it. It was so perfect.
Wow. Yeah. How do you balance your personal life with your work career, which has been so amazing? I mean, you literally did On Your Feet, then a movie, the Spielberg movie, West Side Story, and now you are in West Side Story, living your life. Carlitos.
My husband is the best. That's the answer, the short answer.
I know.
He's in the business and the best. I always say, like, he's a musician and I'm a performer, so it's like the perfect little match in there. Because he understands it, but we're not really like, you know, at the audition competing like, you know, people that date all their dancers or whatever. So that's good. And then in personal life, just, I don't know, Broadway is such a lifestyle. Like I forgot between On Your Feet and West Side Story, there was a time in there that I had freedom to do other things and focus on my personal life. Like I got married and bought the house in Cuba and all that. So I forgot what it was to like be on Broadway. But it really is like people think it's such a fantasy world of like so perfect, but it's just a lifestyle. Like it really changes your routine. Like you really are, yes, the show is at night, but you have rehearsals and you have to like exercise, you have to eat well. So it's such a you just have to be like very disciplined and focused. I forgot like how intense it is and how much like you have a week off every 6 months or every 6 months you get a week off. But besides that, it's 8 times a week, and it's really not a joke. It's hard. Yeah, the balance is just finding what you need at that moment. Every time is different. You always have to check in with yourself and not just like dive into work and just focus about the show and make your whole life about the show. Like that's also not me, and like it's not healthy, I don't think. But
What made you go back to Cuba, repatriarte?
like I said, it really was rent. It really was rent. When I look back at it, I'm like, oh, it was rent, because the memories I had of Cuba was when I was little in Bayamo, and then when I went back to rent, like meeting you guys, like it really, I know it was a special thing for you and like for everyone, but like for me, and like you guys didn't know my story at that moment, and I know it was like, okay, who's this guy? Like, are you Cuban? Are you American? Like, what's your deal? But for me, it really was like super emotional, because I always saw like, now I was an artist here, I was a performer, and to meet people my age, I was like, okay, that would have been me if I had stayed at home. If I had stayed in Cuba, like I would have probably been auditioning for this musical, and I would like to think that. And you guys were so incredible. Like I really do think like artists in Cuba are the fucking best. Like you guys are with no resources, like everyone is just like echado pa'lante. Like look at you fucking doing your thing, doing Instagram lives every fucking day, and just like it was very inspiring. It really was to see just young artists, and like the comparison to America, like with social media and all that. Like everyone's just like so much more present. The just the humor. Like I understood you guys. I understood those artists at my age in Cuba, and I connected like so much that I was like, okay, I need to have a piece of something here. I need to, like it really was like a wake up call to be like, I am Cuban. I'll always be Cuban. I always knew that, but like I really want to have something in Cuba and have a reason to come back and just have and also Kurt. Rent wasn't my first thing in Cuba. I had done Carmen, and Kurt was also part of that. It's like a crazy world. I mean, it's all like Alex Lacamoire being Cuban. It's like the Cuban mafia thing. So Kurt started learning the language and loving Cuba and making friends like in the musician world. So we just needed to have a little piece of land or something there. So I had to repatriate to buy a house, to be able to buy a house. Yeah.
What do you have in New York that reminds you, or do you have like something that reminds you of Cuba? A routine? I don't know, something you carry with you?
Like an object or something? Well, you know what's funny? So in the construction of the house, okay, this is crazy. So we're doing, I don't know who's watching this, but we're making a house. We're building a house in Cuba, reconstructing the house. And in one of these last trips, I had a Spanish tile that I had found on the street that I wanted to have it in my Cuba house. This was in Cuba, but it was the last day, and I was heading to the airport at noon, and I found this Spanish tile like in the morning, and I put it in my backpack, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna bring this to Vedado, to my house, because I wanna put it in the kitchen or somewhere. It was like this beautiful Spanish tile. So I put it in my backpack, and then like of course a million things happened that morning right before going to the airport. So I get on the plane, but then I get to JFK. I'm like, why is this backpack so fucking heavy? And I opened it, and I had the Spanish tile in my backpack. So I have a Spanish tile in my kitchen here in New York, and I never brought it back to Cuba. I have it here, and I'm always that's like a cute little reminder that we see every day. Yeah.
Have your mom been in Cuba with you?
Yeah, oh my God. My mom has a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful penthouse in Havana, like right in front of Capitolio. Yeah, I mean, I think I like to think that it was me who went back and started like finding a new version of Cuba, like not the Cuba that she knew when I was there. Um, but my mom, after I started going back and showing a different Cuba through my eyes, she also wanted to go back and bought this beautiful house. And yeah, no, we go back. I mean, we haven't really been there together in a while, but yeah. No, I just like dream of the day to like have an on your feet cast party in Havana. Like, I know
Oh
you
my
went to Cuba
God.
with some people, but like, I want like a full, like taking over the city situation.
I wanted to do that right after the tour, but we didn't plan it. It was just crazy. And then after the tour, we were on tour so long for like almost 2 years, and I knew it was hard for everybody to get like the first vacation in a while. So Shani have been in Cuba with me twice. Flo and Ale went with me. Claudia Yanes went with me. And Carmine and Yas, they went
That's right.
there at the same time we were there. So it kind of like
Yeah,
happened
Carmen and Jasmine stayed
randomly.
there with like my very good friends. Stayed at my friend's house.
Yeah. And but I really wanted to do that. I wanted to like
It'll
plan a
happen.
trip with like as many people as wanted to go, but it's hard. You know how Cuba is, Cuba.
I know, but it'll
I
happen.
love it.
It's changing, and it's a matter
I
of time.
know.
Not worried.
I know. It's like, how's your family now in Cuba with the coronavirus happening?
I don't really have. I mean, I have my dad's side of the family in Cuba, but I don't really have like close family. They're all in New Jersey. Yeah,
Good.
and they're well. They're just like separate in their own house, but they're always seeing each other every night. Like usually, they have like relajo todo día. But
Me
now
imagino.
everyone is like in their house. Like they're doing pretty good in that aspect. But I haven't seen
¿Quién
my
es
mom or my
Lucrecia?
sister. Yeah,
¿Quién es Lucrecia? La Lucre.
Lucrecia, my angel. Lucrecia, people are obsessed with Lucrecia. I'm obsessed with Lucrecia. Lucrecia is
I'm
my
obsessed with
neighbor.
Lucrecia.
Lucrecia is my neighbor in Cuba. She just has this like she's like the typical, the most traditional like Cuban old lady. Like the type. She lives right in front of me in the house that we bought, and it's just like she has the cutest window with a little. ¿Tú has visto la foto, no?
Sí,
Like
con
Lucrecia's
las
little window with the
matitas.
plants. I know. She's just the best. Like just simple life. She's like the reminder. I love literally like from our balcony, like what you see is her window, and she's just such a reminder of like simple life. Like that's the way, like what really matters. Like she has such a community, always like being so kind to everyone in the neighborhood, like giving water to the kids in the neighborhood. Like it's just like a good reminder. Like here in New York, everything's such like
Mhm.
hustle and driven by like success, and I need to like get ahead. I need to do this. I need to do that. Like we forget like the basis of it, and she just really represents that, like the simple things in life. And yeah, I've been a fan of her. I have a little Instagram. What do they call those? The stories
The
you can see.
highlights, one of the
Yeah, the
highlights.
highlights, and people love it. Yeah.
I know. I feel like that's one of my thoughts now with this craziness and like everybody locked down in their houses. It's like a good reminder of like how life, like it should be simple. We should not make it hard in a way, you know? So
Yeah.
I feel like that's a good, like that's beautiful.
Yeah.
Who's Hilda?
I hate you. Hilda started in On Your Feet. Hilda started
Really?
with On Your Feet. God, I don't even remember. Hilda started with Marco Santana from On Your Feet and Henry and Anna. I mean, all of us comiendo mierda. But it first started being like this character of like in one breath, like she would take one breath and speak in one sentence, like complaining about things without taking a break. She'd be like, "Ay, Dios mío, mira que esto, blah, 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 blah," and like not take a breath, and like in one sentence, how many complaints you can do. And it's just comiendo mierda and tech rehearsal, I think, On Your Feet. And then it just became a character through through the years.
I love her, and people
I'm not
are
doing it.
obsessed with.
Hilda is not coming in tonight. Ay, Dios mío.
Ay, por favor. I really wanted her
Alejandro,
tonight.
Adolfo, vengan.
I want to
There's a
see you
party
guys.
here. With
Pero
us social
claro, esto es lo que
distancing.
más me gusta a
We
mí.
have a
¡Eh!
Little
¡Qué
Wayne.
ganas de verlo!
aquí.
No tenemos
Quería
maquillaje.
verlo. Adolfito, pero qué lindo tú estás, chiqui.
Choco,
Qué lindo están ustedes, caballero.
Esto
Oye, los
es
extraño.
They're
moda
matching.
cuarentena.
Moda de cuarentena. Kurt. Where you going?
They're like,
Where's
we're
Kurt?
watching RuPaul.
It's done.
Adolfito,
They live right
Adolfito,
under us, so we're basically in quarantine with them, which is great to have like enough socializing with someone, you know. So
used to
Kurt's
sing
like,
a lot.
yes, Adolfo.
Kurt, ¿y
No,
por qué tú no viniste para verte?
yeah, Kurt, where are you? Kurt, he's in the kitchen doing the dishes.
How was that? Tell me about your wedding. I am obsessed with you guys, with the couples, like the family you guys have created, because it's just like such a good
Even though
chemistry.
he's ignoring us right now. Kurt.
Well, I know he's watching RuPaul. Leaving, he's probably like, oh, damn it. At
No,
this
he's
time,
honestly he's been conference calls all day. So good.
what made you guys married in Montana?
Well, of course, from Montana.
Okay.
Yeah, he's from Montana, and no, we just like all our friends always wanted to go to Montana. Like, you know, everyone's always like finding an excuse. We're like, let's just fucking do it in Montana, and everyone's gonna love it to go there. But we did it for like a whole week. It was like the perfect thing because we did a whole week of like activities like early in the week, so people would like get to know each other, and then the wedding was actually later in the week, like the last, you know, close to the last week, to the last day of the week. No, we kind of just, I proposed to him, and then he was like, where should it be? And we both were like, Montana. Like, it was a no-brainer. It was so beautiful.
How did you propose to him?
In Spain, in Sevilla. He was very gay. He's listening to me right now, probably making fun of me. Yeah, in Sevilla. All right,
how
wait,
was
let's just
it?
stop
Tell me a
this
little
because
bit.
they're in the living room listening to me, and there's like an echo. Even though Kurt está en problema. Kurt está en problema.
No, yo no quiero meter los problemas, pobrecito.
Yo estaba fregando.
Mi amor, te están haciendo venir ahí de a poco ahí apretado.
No le estaba haciendo nada. Yo estaba en el chisme con el otro, con el blanquito y el trigueñito.
Sí, eso es.
No.
Dime, Kurt, dime de esto, dime qué se
Entrevístalo a
siente.
él.
Exacto, no, ahora que te tengo aquí, por supuesto que te quiero preguntar cosas. ¿Qué se siente tener a alguien como Carlos en tu vida?
Ah, bueno. Lo voy a contestar en inglés para el público, pero no,
But he wants to show up that he's
But I love his Spanish. Wait, guys. The first time I met Kurt, he barely speaks Spanish. I remember in Cuba, you barely spoke Spanish. And then, as far as I know, like years after, the first time I remember I went to New York. I went to New York to see Hamilton, and I saw you because you were conducting. And I was like, Kurt, how are you? You were like, ¿qué bola, Claudia? ¿Cómo tú estás? No sé qué. Empezó a hablarme en español. And I was like, Dios mío, pero ¿cuándo esto pasó?
No, pero ahora él está aprendiendo gramática. Él sabe
Wow.
más español que yo.
Sí, yo aprendí, ¿sabes? De la calle, una cosa muy sucia para empezar. Pero yo tengo mi suegra que me manda mensajes en español, pero con expresiones cubanas que me está tratando de hacer un caballo, ¿sabes? Que yo sé todas las expresiones, pero antiguo. A veces yo digo algo a él y él como se ríe de, pero ¿por qué tú dijiste eso? ¿De dónde viene esa expresión? Había una vez, había una casa en la casa de mami y yo aprendí una expresión, no sé cuándo, pero yo digo, ay, éramos poco y parió katana. Y todo el mundo, todo el mundo se rió mucho.
Él suelta las bombas esas así de momento.
Sí.
Wait, how do you translate that in English? Éramos
Like,
poco.
he's like, I'm obsessed.
No, I mean, the literal translation is like, we were only a few people and then parió.
No,
like,
that has no
gave birth,
translation.
like, yeah, gave birth, I guess.
No, in Cuba, you know the Cubans, like the first trip, people
We don't make
would have
any
him as like a little toy, and he would come home with like the most vulgar things that I didn't even know, like street slang from nowadays.
No, but the trick is to like remember the expression for just the right moment. Like, so if I learn something, I have to like hang on to it for the right moment to turn that card over, because otherwise
Yeah, he didn't come home and say like, I just learned this. He would just like hold it and say it in the right
And
context.
then one day he was like, boom.
Yeah.
That happened to me when I'm here or when I speak Spanish with people. My Spanish gets a little bit better. It's just like I modulate more the words. And then I go back to Cuba, and when I'm back, I'm like, oye, chico, que hola, no sé qué, no sé qué más. Y se me monta el cubano de una forma
I
que
love your
después yo me
Cuban
escucho
accent.
hablando y se me salen los cojones así de nada. Y me da una pena después cuando me escucho yo mismo hablando. Entonces solo
You know,
tenemos...
you must know one of my favorite Cuban expressions, like old school Cuban expression, is "La hora en que mataron a Lola," and I like always look for a chance to use it. But that's like one of my favorites. You know that one?
¿A qué hora mataron a
La-
Lola? A las 3, yo no
A
sé.
A las 3, ¿no?
A las 3.
No,
Yo creo que
es
este
a
es más
las
joven
3.
que nosotros. ¿Tú has visto el test ese que hay? There's a test online of like, how Cuban are you? And it has like all
Oh,
these
no.
questions of like, ¿a qué hora mataron a Lola? And you have to like, ¿a qué hora el cañonazo? It's like Cuban, like answer
Oh,
questions that only
got it.
Cubans would know.
El cañonazo sí sé que es a las 9 de la noche.
A las
La hora que
9.
mataron a Lola,
Her knows more than me.
I thought it was later. I feel, wait, at 3 also, ¿cuál es la que se quema? El cuarto de tú, la que cogió candela, el cuarto se quedó dormido y no, apagó la vela. That was not at 3 p.m.
No. Estás mal.
Dice que
Tú la haces que muy ya.
Yo probablemente yo suspendo la prueba esa porque yo soy lo peor.
yeah, like no, it's been great, but no, it was very sweet. I'm glad you guys are getting a chance to talk, and like this one, he deserves some spotlight for all the things that he does. But
Of
that's
course.
I heard you asking about our wedding, and it was just like, I think we just leaned into like the mashup quality of it. That was kind of the most exciting thing. Like, that's something that really excites me creatively and musically is like, how can you take a mashup of two things that already exist, but sort of find the ways they intersect and the moments to kind of transition between. And so as we were planning the wedding, we had these two sets of like completely opposite things. Like his family was going to be coming from the East Coast, mine is in Montana, like they speak Spanish, we speak English. Like there were all these things that sort of shouldn't compute. And so we were like, wait a minute, let's just like lean into the mashup of it all. So then we discovered really random facts like my dad has this 1950s Chevrolet because that was his first car. When I'm in But it was like
En
from
serio,
when
en Montana.
In
Montana. So it's like from when he was a kid. And so we're like, wait a minute, that's a Cuban car nowadays.
Wow.
And so that was like a central feature of the, I don't know, like it's Montana, what are they going to eat? And so we met with her and she's like, oh yeah, my chef is Puerto Rican. It's like, what do you want? Flan, tres leches. Like in the middle of Montana, like I never would have expected.
Yeah.
They made us like this whole feast of platanitos, yuca, like in the middle of Montana.
That's amazing. Tres leche.
But
rico.
the pièce de résistance was to have, we found there was this Afro-Cuban funk band in Montana. All white guys like me. Like they're all like super Juma, Blanquitos. But like they've all like studied Cuban music. And so like in the middle of Montana, we got to have, all
what was your name?
Se llama John Roberts y Pan Blanco.
You were doing On Your Feet and you were doing Hamilton. You guys were at the same time, right across the street.
Next door,
in
yeah.
different shows.
Yeah.
How was that for you guys? Were you come over to drink cafecito On Your Feet and then you...
Oh yeah.
Those were the days. Literally like in the beginning of Hamilton, like Lynn would come with Kurt like right after, between shows, he would come on Saturdays, he would drink coffee with us. And on Saturday nights would be like, we had like a giant theater, like at the Marquis Theater. So there was like this big green room. But yeah, it would be all Hamilton would come to On Your Feet, like get drunk and dance.
And then there was the night that I knew Beyonce was at Hamilton. Right. So I texted him, I was like, get your ass over here as soon as you
every night after, because On Your Feet would finish obviously before Hamilton. So every night he would text me. And I'll be like, bye, Bobby.
Adios.
Every night, Kurt would be like, such and such is here. Like every night would be some crazy celebrity. And I'll be like, okay, I'm not that interested in that person. And I would like go home if I'm early, or like if it was someone like Beyonce, I'd be like, I'm coming over. So I would like literally go to the stage door of Hamilton and meet them, and then we'll
You'll cross the street and you'll be there.
But no, it would be, we would like go home together, and it was so nice to be on the same schedule, have the same days off. We met during In the Heights on the national tour, which is where he met Alex Lackmore.
Wait, you did In the Heights too, Kurt? The first national?
yeah, the touring company. So that was kind of like my first job working with any of that team. I was hired to do the second national tour, and so we were out for 9 months, around the country doing one-nighters basically. Like mostly we did a couple bigger cities, but like right in the last few months of the tour, like this one joined. So that was like how we got to know each other during In the Heights. The guy was conducting, he was on stage, and so that kind of
Odiando.
What a show.
From the
Sí,
stage with
exacto.
Andante.
so that became this
En la sadería.
it became this kind of like beautiful thrill, and for it was a strange thing, but like his first role he did when he got to the company was he had to sing the song Breathe. So I was teaching him Sigue andando el camino and like here I didn't speak Spanish at the time, but like teaching him the Spanish and teaching him how to sing. So we had all these kind of extra lessons together. And so that song, even though it's not like a love song, has sort of become like our song a little bit. And so
which is the song I used to propose to him in Spain, in Sevilla.
Yeah, so in Sevilla he had
I had a flamenco guy, guitar player, to be like in the park randomly, and had for him to do an arrangement of that song, like as a flamenco guy. So we're like walking in the park, all of a sudden we saw a guitar player who was like singing flamenco music, but then he knew when to switch to this song, and that's when Kurt was like, "Wait, what?"
Yeah.
And then I know it.
Oh, that's so beautiful.
Yeah.
So that's kind of was the beautiful song. And then when Andrea Burns married us, I don't know if you said that, but so Andrea sang a little bit of that song, and Mandy Gonzalez, who sang it, like did a little tribute for us, like with the song. And then this last summer in 2019, I got to work on the movie of In the Heights. So that was kind of yet another full circle thing that like the show kept coming back in our lives. So
it's such a special show. I got to do it last year, and I'd never seen it before. I got to do it, and I remember Andy used to tell us about. Yeah, I did. Andy used to tell us about the show in Cuba because he was like, "Oh, maybe we can bring it to Cuba for like the second round of like covering Cuba."
Yeah.
And I remember he told us about it, and I've never got to see it. And then last year I was in it in Portland. And
that's right.
Such a beautiful show.
Which, funny enough, Claudia, that was the theater that I like did my first professional jobs in at Portland Center Stage.
Really?
Yeah, we've never talked about that, but when I saw In the Heights was happening there, and I knew so many people, like I knew Alvarado because of Hamilton, and
Henry.
I did my Gabby Perez because I'd done a show with her, like an off-Broadway show. So, like, so many connections to that company. But like that was my first like real job like in the industry when I decided I was going to do theater, was at Portland Center Stage. And
it's such an amazing place to work.
Yeah.
I want to go back. We want to go back. The whole company, we're like, just like create a production and we're all going to go like just for nothing. It doesn't matter. We just want to work there. Everybody, like, since like from the stage managers, the lighting, the like the people on the door, they're just like selling tickets and they're so nice. Yeah. It's amazing.
It's a great place to work.
It was a really good place to start though. Well, thank you so much, Cart, for por venir y hablar un ratico con nosotros y salirte del grupo.
Cuídate.
Love you. Bueno, ya casi estamos llegando al final porque tú sabes que esto yo lo tengo una hora nada más. That's right. No me gusta, tú sabes, hacer demasiado de largo estas cosas. Exacto. Es como, yo se lo digo a la gente, I tell people that this is like a radio station. Like, think about it not as like you're not going to be watching something, you're going to be listening to it. Because it's like stories. Pero yo te quería preguntar, how is, so if you, I always ask this question because I feel like I was missing that when I was like starting my career. And what would be a good advice you could give to someone that wants to become a performer, let's say a dancer or an actor? I know you take care of yourself really good.
Yeah, I always just say the same thing, which is like just be authentic. It's so hard in the beginning to like, try to be something else and try to fit into a box. And in college, I was always like, oh, my accent is too thick. I should learn this, to get rid of it. Or I should try to be more like that. Or I should try to be more like this other person because that person is, and it's just always comes down to like be you, like authentically who you are is what's going to make it, That's it. Like, honestly, I think that's what got me my first Broadway show. It's like, I was like, okay, I'm authentically Cuban. I'm authentically loving dancing this music and it was meant to be for me. So if if you're who you are, something will come your way it's needing your specific life. We're also unique, and as long as you are true to yourself and don't lose track of who you are authentically, and obviously prepare yourself and have all the preparations for when the opportunity comes, and all of those other great advices. But I think authenticity is always the bottom line for me. That's just me.
What's the funniest fall you've ever had?
The funniest one?
Like a como que te has caído. Have you ever fallen on stage or something?
Oh, I'm sure. I don't know about falling, but I definitely came into On Your Feet early by myself in Mi Tierra. If Hector is here, he's probably gonna laugh at this, and Natalie. But in Mi Tierra, I came in by myself. You know how like it was a scene right before Mi Tierra, and it's a little bam, and then the fridge moves and just bum, ba-dum, bum, and I used to come in from stage left with Marielis Molina, my dance partner, amazing. And I used to come in with her after like 2 or 3 counts of 8, like after the first person comes out. Whatever. Point is, I came in like 5 counts of 8 earlier by myself in the middle of the scene. I don't know why. Like the first bum, 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 I came out.
Yeah, well,
the scene was still happening. The fridge was not even out yet. Like there was no light. I don't know what the fuck I was thinking about.
And Abuela was like, she was a star.
She was a star. And there's just this guy on the stage left, like posing by himself.
I love that.
I thought that was, look at Hector. He's dying laughing. Because the other side of that story is that Maria Molina stayed on the wings looking at me by myself and not coming out. And she was like this. She was like waiting. And I was looking at her on the wings like, bitch, you're not coming out with me? And
I'm pretty sure there's 5 seconds were like the longest.
This is a very On Your Feet specific joke, but it was hilarious when it happened. ¿Qué es lo más viejo que hay en el frío?
¿En el frío?
Sofrito, un sofrito de mi abuela que me dio hace como 3 meses.
Sí.
No, 3 meses no, el año pasado.
Pero cuéntale la historia del sofrito.
What, my grandma?
Sí.
No, my grandma makes me this sofrito. It's like that Cuban sofrito that she makes, and she makes it for the whole family. It's amazing. I even made her like little logos with her picture on it. It says sofrito made my mama Lila. But she gave me some. But hay un sofrito que eso debe oler a mierda de hace como del año pasado. Like this whole full circle thing, because I swear to you that because I was like right after the whole Rent experience On Your Feet, and every night, like whenever I would feel like a little down or like low energy, which was not a lot of times because the orchestra would just like give me energy, I really would think of the whole cast of Rent. Like that was the reason. I was like, okay, like everyone in that cast, like, because what we went through with you guys, and everyone would just like die for an opportunity to be on Broadway. Like I know how much you guys wanted to be on Broadway. So really, really every night, like I would just be there, like right before the curtain, I would just close my eyes, be like, okay, every single person in that cast would die to be here right now. So I need to like do it for them. And not try to be.
That's one of my
inspirations.
inspirations.
Really is true. So it's crazy that we're talking right now here.
Sometimes when I was on tour, I mean, you know how lonely it is sometimes to be on tour because you have your family and everybody. It's just like home, but you don't really have a home. You're like hotel by hotel, and then you're like you lose your identity in a way if you don't like really keep it. And sometimes I'll be like, down or whatever, and that was exactly what I would think all the time. I'll be like, there's people that would die to be in my position right now, and
it's
like,
true.
that would inspire me. Carlito, thank you so much for agreeing to do this with me, esta locura. Carlito, te amo, te adoro con la vida. Por favor, cuídate mucho. I am really so thankful for having you in my life and to have Adolfito allí, que yo cada rato voy y me tomo unos cafecitos con ustedes. I love that. Please take care.
Cuídate mucho.
Muchísimas gracias, everyone, for being here tonight. Love you.